I put the spotlight on your city. I put the spotlight on your city. See the superstars. Hollywood to Hollywood. Girl, you look good. Yeah, they hollering, baby. Keep modeling, baby. ATLD. I put the spotlight on your city. Carolina, Philly. I put the spotlight on your city.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spotlight Over the City. I'm your host, Stan Long, and this is my super duper co-host, Mrs. Dana Dane.
Hey, hey,
and
hey.
our special guest co-host, the wifey herself,
Hey.
Mrs. Long. What's going on, miss?
Hey.
Hey, family.
Hey.
You looking good
We
up
both
here?
say hey, hey.
What's going on? What's going on, audience? Thank y'all for tuning in. We have a wonderful show today. We have
Yes, we do.
none other than Mark Anthony himself. He's a fourth-generation medium. He's not only that, he is a psychic lawyer. We're going to talk about that. That sounds like he's cheating a little bit. A psychic attorney? That doesn't sound fair, right? A psychic attorney means he got the up on somebody. So what's going on, Dana? Tell us a little bit about your project. You said you had something going on. Let's hear about it.
So Saturday, this Saturday coming up, I'm going to be filming with Mitch Creedle, and we are filming Crime, Justice, and Injustice. And we're going to pick up on the case that we dealt with the Colonel Brooks killing. A lot of people from D.C. remember some years ago, numerous people that worked at Colonel Brooks off of 12th Street Northeast got killed inside of the job. There was one lone survivor, so I've already interviewed him. One of the murder victims, I interviewed his wife. So next I'll be interviewing Mitch because he was the lead detective on that case. So we're going to wrap that story up. And then we're also going to interview Pam Brooks, whose son was killed. And a lot of people said that it was the police's fault. So Pam is going to get a chance to tell her story, and we're going to be able to hear her voice.
Now, these are true stories? All of these
stories? All of these stories are true, and they're all based in the nation's capital. There's so many crimes. There's so many things that have happened that have served as injustice to the people of the D.C. community, and we are giving them the platform to tell their stories. That's the reason why Mitch Creedle wanted to create this show, so they would have a voice. So that's what we're doing, and we're going back years. Like Mitch is accepting everything that made an impact in the D.C. area that was crime, justice, or injustice.
Shout out Mitch Creedle. Shout out to Mitch Creedle, Boss. He made the movie Boss 1, Boss 2, doing big things in the DMV. Shout out to you, Mitch. That's a big deal. I knew you guys been working on it for a while. I've been seeing on the timeline, this, that, and the third, but now it's finally time to produce.
Yes, exactly. I'm really, really excited about it because, these stories need to be told. I'm just blessed. Again, Mitch, thank you, twin. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. I love what I do. I love interviewing. I love it. So
you're going to have a ball over there. And, Mitch, that's a great project, too, Mitch. I like that a lot. That's something different.
I'm so proud of you, sis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're making moves,
You are
Mitch.
making me proud.
Thank you.
Yes.
So we got to get right into Spotlight News because we don't have a lot of time because we got to call in. Our guest will be calling in today at 7:15. We'll be expecting a call. So happy birthday to Kerry Washington. Kerry Washington turns 41 yesterday. And she looks amazing, by the way. What do you guys think?
That's my girl,
Yeah,
Olivia
I like her a
Pope.
lot.
She is
Olivia
41.
Pope. Yeah, she looks amazing. That didn't even look like her when I first looked at the picture. I was like, is that her? But yeah, she looks good, right?
Yeah,
So you
she
think
does.
she's cute, babe?
Yeah, I think she's cute. She just, her mouth, something's going on with that part right there. But she's still cute, yes.
Oh, I'm glad I wasn't drinking my coffee because I would have spit it out. But I know what
Wait, don't ask me if you
I
don't
know
want
what
me
you're
to say.
talking about.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is.
I actually know what he's
But
talking
it's
about.
something in
yeah,
here.
it's like a little. We know she hasn't.
Yes.
Yeah, it's look
something.
at it.
I don't know, but
Look,
she's
sis, look
definitely
at it.
beautiful, you guys.
Yeah,
Don't
she
get me
is.
twisted now. I'm not saying nothing
And
wrong
she's a
with
great
her.
actress.
An amazing powerhouse
Happy
actress.
birthday,
Yes.
Carrie.
So happy birthday to her. Moving on to Baltimore. This right here is a little disturbing to me, but I'm used to it. I knew it was real. Baltimore has a task force called the Gun Trace Task Force. They're currently in court for carrying around plastic guns in order to plant real guns on so-called would-be criminals and whatnot. And they also allegedly taking drug dealers' money. One particular person was in a traffic stop. $6,500 was taken from him. Another guy, drugs was planted on him. Several people, actually. And so now they're in court for this profiling type of situation. This is happening in different cities, too, by the way. Police officers are doing this type of buffoonery in the community. So I'm glad that they are being held accountable, so they have to go to court. for that. So
Yeah.
Let's
Me
hope they
too.
pay
let's hope
the
that
price.
something happens
exactly.
when
right.
you go to court, because normally, you know how I'm saying, they go to court
Exactly.
and then that just be it. So we're
Right.
gonna hope you go to court and something happens
And
to
something
you.
actually happens.
Quavo made. Yeah, I love the Migos though. Shout out to the Migos first of all. But Quavo, one of the Migos, was allegedly beating up a guy named Eric the Jeweler. Right? He says Eric the Jeweler says Quavo owes him $10,000 for a piece of jewelry that he never paid for.
Okay, so who is that?
That's Quavo.
Okay.
That's
So they say
Quavo.
Quavo allegedly punched him in the face a couple of times and swole that chin up a little bit and got him a little bit messed up. So he's filing a lawsuit and he's pressing charges against Quavo.
Wow.
So this happened at the actually at the Grammys. It happened at the Grammys.
What's wrong with our people? They
was on
can't even go to
Sunday.
the Grammys without acting
At
hood.
the One Oak nightclub in New York City. This was after the Grammys. Now, I must say they are from the hood. People get them twisted because the Migos don't seem hood when you look at them. They look like they kind of crazy looking and have a different weird dress code. But trust and believe, they'll touch you up. And they got videos to prove it
Right,
on YouTube.
they'll get right with you.
They'll get right with you though. Like you said, get right with
They
you.
will
Yeah,
get
they'll
right
get right
with
with
you.
you. So shout out to the Migos, not for that, but just for the fact that they're making amazing music. So moving on, DMX. Unfortunately, it's the
Oh
homie.
my God!
Don't
Here we go
tell me
again
that.
with
Way back
DMX.
to prison.
Don't say that.
Unfortunately, DMX is on his way back to prison for drug violation. They found drugs in the system and also
Earl.
alcohol, and he's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be in rehab. So that's not
And look
allowed
at him. He
as a
looks
part of his
really good
probation.
right there. He
Well,
looks
that's
like
an
he's
older
getting
one.
himself
The
together. The
picture
first
was
one looked
more
like a mugshot.
of the new Earl.
That must be a mugshot.
Yeah, so unfortunately, because I'm gonna tell you something, DMX made a lot of noise in hip hop, and he really made some big leaps and strides in the industry, and was a headliner for some of what we call big acts today, like Fat Joe and all those people. They were just undercards to DMX back in the day because he was that dude.
Yeah, he
So
need to just
for
hang it up.
everything that he's done for music, I salute him, and I just pray that he get himself together.
Right.
I don't have any negative for him. Moving on, Google expands its Google had a 3-month program called the Howard West program.
Love
They
it.
expanded it now to train more black engineers for HBCU colleges.
Love it.
That's amazing.
Shout out Google. I like what
Shout
you're
out
doing.
Google.
Google has a powerful company as well. Google allow you to go to bed and everything when you work for them. You can go take a nap, come back. Like Google Titan, that's real talk. Google allows you to do that.
Wow.
They give you
when you work for them.
Yes, Google is innovative, and everybody.
What if
has
you don't
worked
wake
for
up? What, they
Google.
got an alarm clock or something? That might
I
not be
guess they say
safe.
we give you a little bit of time. You can kick up your feet, and what it does is called good. It causes good morale for the business. You know, so like say you work there and you can come there and take a nap. They allow you to have daycare right down the stairs for your kids. All this kind of good stuff that they provide for
Yeah,
their
that's a
employees.
blessing.
That is
Yeah.
wonderful.
That is a true blessing.
I'm
shout out
sending
to
my
Google.
resume to Google.
Right, and rare.
Yep.
ASAP.
Yes, I am. I
Okay.
need me a nap at work.
So we're gonna move on to Spotlight Sports. Blake Griffin, of course, everybody know, and if you don't, has been traded actually to the Detroit Pistons.
I did not know
I
that.
did not see this one coming.
You knew that?
Too, you didn't know? You didn't know they was trading? Well, Blake is gone. He's on to the Detroit Pistons. So good luck to him. I think he's an amazing player. Maybe he'll do better at Detroit. I don't know. We'll see. On a sadder note, former NBA player Rasul Butler, and let's show his picture, him and his wife. They was a beautiful couple. He was killed as well as she was killed in a car accident
Oh, my
on Wednesday.
goodness.
Both of them.
Wednesday that just
So
passed.
Yeah,
sad.
driving a Range
They
Rover.
are a
and-
beautiful couple.
Yeah, I
Look
love
at
them.
them.
She's an R&B singer. She won.
She was one of no, she didn't win. She was one of the final
She was
contestants.
the final contestant. Okay,
Wow.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
This Wednesday passed. They just died in a car
Yes,
crash.
yes.
They both died in a car crash. They
Oh,
were driving a
so
Range
sad.
Rover.
Very tragic.
Allegedly a little over speed and lost control of the Range
Allegedly,
Rover.
they not even a little. They said it was like double the
the
speed
speed.
limit. Mm-hmm.
I tried to downplay it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just a
That's so sad.
situation
Rest in
all the way
peace.
around.
Yes. Do they have kids?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think they did, but I don't want to say that because I don't want to report the wrong
Right,
thing.
right.
But both of them lost their lives. That's a tragic
And together.
situation. You never know how long you have here, so you always got to make sure that you understand that. and take advantage of the time.
That's right.
And so now we're waiting on Mark Anthony.
Every
In the
day.
meantime, did you want to discuss a little bit more about the projects or whatever you have coming up? Because I know we kind of
Let's do a hot topic because people have been asking me, what's the topic for today, Dana? And we were waiting for our guest, so let's do a hot topic.
Well, we're going to discuss life after death. That's the topic that I was going to bring to him because he's an expert at it. But if you have some, we don't have but a minute, and he should be calling. Like, he's going to call at 7:15.
I have a lot. Well, let me ask you this.
Well, what do you want to discuss while we waiting?
No, real quick. Are we going to be able to, is he going to tell us something? Can I tell him something? Can I ask him something? Can he
you
reach
can
into?
ask him whatever you choose. As a matter of fact, wifey, we need the questions. We don't have the questions.
Oh, they're in my bag over there.
Okay.
So I will
So
be able to ask
we'll go
him.
to a commercial, you guys, and we'll be right back right after this commercial spotlight.
I put the spotlight on your city. I put the spotlight on your city. See the superstars. Hollywood to Hollywood. Girl, you look good. Yeah, they hollering, baby. Keep modeling, baby. ATLD. I put the spotlight on your city. Carolina, Philly. I put the spotlight on your city. I put the spotlight on your city. I put the spotlight on your city. See the superstars. Hollywood to Hollywood. Girl, you look good. Yeah, they hollering, baby. Keep modeling, baby. ATLD. I put the spotlight on your city. Carolina, Philly. I put the spotlight on your city.
Bet. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spotlight. We are back, and we are with our wonderful guest today, Mr. Mark Anthony, a.k.a. Mr. Fourth Generation Medium, a.k.a. Mr. Author, Mr. a whole bunch of stuff, but more importantly, psychic lawyer. And he has a whole lot of things he want to talk about, so let's give it up for Mark Anthony.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you hear us, Mark?
Hey.
You can hear us?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Great. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yes,
It's a
we
blessing.
appreciate it.
This young man has been on many shows,
Give him
you
a
guys. And
rundown.
I mean, like,
Yes.
let's say ABC, NBC,
CBS.
CBS, Fox News. We won't hold the Fox News against you, Mark.
Right.
All of them.
Well, you
all
know,
of- Go ahead, Mark.
Here's what I got to tell you this about Fox is spirit communication and coping with the death of a loved one has nothing to do with political ideology, and the producers on all the Fox networks could not be nicer to me because they're just as interested in the afterlife as anybody else. So when I'm on Fox shows, that isn't to endorse any particular political positions, to talk
Right.
about my work.
Right. Which is a big body of work. Actually, we have everybody here waiting for questions because a lot of people want to ask you questions. So the first thing I'm going to do is stay in order with the questions. So the first things first, you are known as a psychic lawyer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Don't most people think that that's kind of like a two-sided profession or kind of like you're cheating a little bit? Like he kind of has the edge over us because he's a psychic? Does that come into play at all?
Let me ask you this. If you go into court, don't you want your lawyer to be able to kick butt and take names?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm signing up for that all day, Mark. Trust me.
Well, the thing is, Stan, that being a psychic medium and an attorney, first off, let me take this one step at a time. Both jobs are about evidence. As a lawyer, you got to have evidence in the law and the facts on your side to win your case. And as a psychic medium, I have to present evidence which can be verified to prove that the spirit communicating is who he or she says that they are. I mean, because anybody can say, "Oh, your grandfather's here and he loved you." Okay, but when you start giving what he looked like, what he died from, his name, dates, places, shared memories, and then things that the spirit brings up about you that nobody could know, these are pieces of evidence.
That's
Wow.
so.
Okay.
Psychic intuition is useful in the practice of law because it gives me insights. It certainly doesn't make me invulnerable. And like I've said a million times before, I'm a medium. I'm not the Messiah. Okay, so it may give me an edge or an advantage in a situation. But what I'm doing with my ability now is I'm focusing my work on helping people cope with the loss of a loved one by communicating with spirits. My work as an attorney is now specialized in the field of appearing on shows like this, on radio and on television shows, and in print media as an expert in analyzing cases, particularly where the paranormal and the legal system collide. So it can be very, very interesting.
Wow.
So because I'm on a nationwide tour and the demand for my services as a medium is so heavy that I have basically gone on hiatus from representing individual clients.
Wow.
Wow,
That's amazing.
That is amazing. I mean,
know.
you've been a busy guy though since I've been introduced to you some years ago, back when I was in Atlanta.
I know.
And you were busy
I
then.
know, we've-
You were busy then.
We've known each other. Yeah, it seems like, God, I don't know, it's got to be like almost 10 years.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
been a
after
while. It's
10
been at
years.
least 5. It's been at least 5. And I remember when we first got in touch with each other, I was really taken back by you and your abilities. So one of the things that a lot of people would ask is, how do you know that a person can really contact the other side, or people who have transitioned? How do you know whether they're real or fake?
That's an excellent question, because there's a lot of charlatans, there's a lot of phonies out there, and they will tell you what you want to hear or ask you a bunch of questions, and that's a technique referred to as cold reading. Now, people tell me, "Oh, you're cold reading," because during when I'm communicating with a spirit, let's say I'm communicating with somebody, and Stan, I'll say, "All right, I'm seeing this. Does that make sense to you, or do you recognize this?" Because what's happening is spirits are pure energy, and they're emitting waves of frequency, so the spirit's electromagnetic field is interfacing with the electromagnetic field of my brain, all right? And so there's impulses of energy going into it that get converted into recognizable concepts based on my memories, feelings, and cultural associations. Now, you may think that sounds far-fetched, but think about what we're doing right now. I'm talking to you, so I'm communicating to you using frequency, which is sound wave frequency. And certain sounds are going into your brain and getting converted into recognizable things because you are familiar with the look, Chris Rock says, "What the words are coming out of my mouth?"
Right,
Okay?
Right.
But if I were speaking like French or Chinese or Korean, you would hear the sounds, but you would be unfamiliar with them, so it would appear to be unintelligible or gibberish. And so when you're working with a spirit, spirits don't speak a human language, they speak frequency. And when you work with them, I see things that are formed in my mind's eye, my mind's ear. I'll smell things, taste things, perceive things, and that's what I'll say, does that make sense to you? For example, this was a real heavy-duty thing that happened yesterday. I was doing a reading for this lady, and her son came through. And all of a sudden, I saw an image of the Shroud of Turin. Now, talk about,
Wow.
okay. I said, all right, the Shroud of Turin, I go, you ever been to Turin, Italy, or northern Italy? Does the Shroud of Turin make any sense to you? And she said, oh, my gosh. And I'm like, okay. She said, at my son's funeral, the minister said, another young man who brought so much into this world died at the age of 33. Okay, he was referring to Jesus, who died at 33, because her son died at 33. And the Shroud of Turin, I'm not saying that it is the burial cloth of Jesus, but it's an image associated with it. So what was going on here is the spirit was transmitting this particular piece of information to me. Now, I'm a history buff, and I study religion and archaeology. So when I saw the Shroud of Turin, and I explained that to her, well, that was the cloth that Jesus' body supposedly was wrapped in, meaning he had died at the age of 33, and that was the trigger, and it immediately was recognized by her. Now, of all the things I could bring up during a reading, why the Shroud of Turin? Okay?
Right.
How could that possibly be cold reading? I mean, if I said, oh, I get that he had a puppy when he was a boy. All right, how many boys have
Right.
had
Have
Right,
puppies,
right,
right? Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, you're in the 98 percentile bracket if you're going to do a cold reading. But to bring up something so specialized as the Shroud of Turin, And let me tell you, when that came through, and the woman, she was such a nice lady, and I felt so bad. You know, she'd lost a son, and she just burst into tears, and she said, "Oh my gosh, that just made all the difference." So that's why when people that don't understand spirit communication watch it, you know, they can sit there and poo-poo it. But to answer your question directly, you've got, first off, if you're going to go to a medium, see if he or she has a website, read it, see if they have any books, be familiar with them, see what the testimonials, talk to other people who've been to them, and like on my website, evidenceofaternity.com, I have a media page. It's all interviews and me performing readings in front of live television audiences and live audiences at venues. Okay, this is real stuff. All right, and so you can see the accuracy and the genuine quality to it, as opposed to if you drive by someplace psychic readings, you walk in and they start telling you, oh, well, it's only $10. Oh, but now it's $50, and oh, now it's $500, and oh, you have a curse on you. So when people employ fear and manipulation tactics, that's when you turn and run.
That actually happened to me before in Charlotte, North Carolina. The young lady
Did it?
did a
What
reading.
happened?
She walked up on me at Marshall's, and she tapped me on my shoulder and said, "Your energy's really strong. Can I talk to you?" Well, I said, okay. I was on my way out. She was on her way out. Well, long story short, we sat on a bench out front, and she gave me about a 20, 30-minute reading that was very accurate, right? Very accurate. She was from Romania, right? She gave me a very accurate reading, and then she called me and said I had a curse on me, and she had to get it removed, and she had to work on my chakras. I'm not
there we
really,
go.
I'm not really, wasn't really with letting no one bother with my chakras because that's important energy flow. So I knew that and I ran. But yeah, I thought it was weird that she really could read me though. Like her reading was accurate, so I couldn't think she was false. I just thought that she was trying to gain money from it, you know. But she was accurate.
Yeah, when people start telling you that you have a curse on you or you are haunted or there's some spirit that's attached to your aura and all that, that's when you're getting away into the charlatanism.
Right.
That's where people try to take it's like anything, any beautiful invention. Let's say the internet. When the internet came out, what a wonderful thing. And probably within a week there was already pornography, child pornography, and horrible things like that on it. So human beings tend to have a gift for taking a positive thing and immediately finding a way to exploit it. So somebody that has a gift like that telling you that there's a curse on you and that you have that they can remove it, and what's going to happen is they're going to get you so afraid that you'll come back for several sessions.
Right.
I did some commentating when I was talking earlier about being the psychic lawyer when the legal system and the paranormal collide. Probably it was about 8 years, about eight or 9 years ago. There was a case in South Florida, and it was a group of people, also from Romania, and the woman's name was Rosa Marks, and she and her family of thieves had lured people, into her to have a reading, persuaded them that this one woman was a famous writer, Jude Devereaux. She built $3 million out of Jude Devereaux, telling her that her little boy, who was killed in a car accident, his soul was in peril, and she was the only one that could save him. She was successfully convicted. Thank you, state of Florida, for handling that, because they had built several people out of over $30 million by telling them their
gracious, $30 million.
the souls of their loved ones were in peril, were being destroyed, and only they could do it. And you have to come 3 times a week, $500 a pop, and go through all this process. First off, all that's a bunch of hooey. When a person dies, their soul separates from their body and goes to a higher frequency. You can call it heaven, the other side, whatever you would like to call it. This whole thing about souls being trapped and tormented and all that is a bunch of Bronze Age, primitive, superstitious nonsense. I take the approach, and this is in my last book, Evidence of Eternity, and will be addressed further in my upcoming book, that the afterlife can be explained and understood on the basis of particle physics, quantum physics. And this in no way denigrates belief in God. because God is pure energy, pure love, and the creative force that connects and binds everyone and everything. This is why God always was and always will be, and why God is omnipresent, aware of everything going on, as opposed to a neurotic white guy sitting on a throne with a scepter smiting people because they didn't tithe 10%.
Right.
Okay? I mean, it's like that's a Michelangelo painting.
That's
That
exactly
is
right.
primitive. Yeah, that's primitive fear-based superstition. But people like to put a human face on God so you can relate to God, and that's fine. But when you start taking that belief to scare people and tell them you got curses on you, and you're going to hell, and you're wrong, and we're right, and we may pray to, it's just ridiculous what people do in the name of God.
Yeah, that's why we trying to duck that religion thing now and get more back to the spirit-based spirituality instead of just dealing with religion. So let's talk about your book a little bit, Evidence of Eternity. Like, what made you write the book, and where did you get the title?
Well, my first book, Never Letting Go, is a guide on the journey through grief, and it's recommended by hospices and grief counselors all over the world. And so when I was on the Never Letting Go tour, Stan, people started asking me very poignant questions, like, my son committed suicide. Did he go to hell? Do animals have souls? Is reincarnation real? What happens to people that are murderers and when they die? And so they started giving me, is there any scientific basis behind this? So what I did, Stan, is I started keeping track of the most asked questions, and that gave me the impetus to write Evidence of Eternity, which explains the afterlife and spirit communication based on quantum physics, hard science, human physiology, evidence, and it bridges the gap between the spiritual and the scientific. So it's become an immensely popular book. Both my books now, I think, are in 6 or 7 different languages. And
Wow.
Evidence of Eternity will be an audio book on February 13th. So it's still going strong.
Good.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's great.
So let me piggyback off of what you were asking, and I know some of the studio, some of my co-hosts also have questions, so I'm gonna turn some of them over. But I want to piggyback off of some of what you said in your last book. So do you see on the other side that you consider what we would say a hell, or people being reincarnated, so to speak?
Well, let's start with hell first. Hell does not exist in the archetypal Sunday school version of it. Because we think of hell as this guy with a pitchfork and a pointy tail, and he's like a James Bond villain. Okay, and he presides over this fiery inferno. I could talk for about an hour on where those concepts were developed over the centuries, but there is no hell. God did not create a negative entity to fight with for all of eternity and then emerge victorious like a Norse god in a Viking myth. Okay? Hell is here on earth. When you lose a loved one, that pit of despair that you fall into, that depression, the sense of loneliness, that is hell. If you are dying of a terminal disease like cancer and you're suffering, you're in hell. Think of the poor people in Afghanistan and Syria and Iraq living under the oppression of something like ISIS. These people are in hell. So hell does exist, but it's here in the material world. And the devil is the human ego, which can also stand for edging God out. Because whenever something cruel or horrible is done, it's not because you are acting out of love for another person. You're acting in the most base level, self-centered selfishness, the me. So that's why hell does exist, but it is here in the earth plane. Now, reincarnation is every spirit I've communicated with that does address it. They say that reincarnation is real. Also, there's near-death experience studies. When I was a little kid, when I was about three, almost 4, I had a near-death experience, as did my father and as did my mother throughout the course of their lives. And I do a lot of work with near-death experience and I am also speaker at the International Association Near Death Studies annual conferences. This one coming up in September in Seattle. Every near-death experienced person says that reincarnation is real. This, too, is based on physics because energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. The energy that is housed in our body, our electromagnetic field, and we know this exists because our nervous system and our brain and our heart all have an electrical field.
Yep.
So when the body ceases to function, that energy gets transferred, and the consciousness stays coherent. Now, it can reattach to a new host, in other words, a fetus, and that is the scientific basis for reincarnation, which is a theory known as biocentrism. In other words, we think that because we have a body, that the body is the center of the universe, when now we know from physics it isn't. So reincarnation is a real thing, and it's nothing to be afraid of. But I've also seen that karma, which is for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, you got to be nice, because there may not be a hell, but there sure is karma. Okay?
Yes, yes.
So, and the joke we always like to make in my field is karma never loses an address. So be nice.
So be nice.
That's right.
So before I turn this over to them, this is my last question. I'm gonna let Dana and Miss Long. My wife is on the panel as well. My big thing, I read heavy. I'm into the spirit life, big time, and now I'm starting to meditate for purposes. One of them is because I want to be able to leave my house on my own merit. I don't want to be caged. I want to be free from the house. So the only problem with me is I'm afraid I don't know how to get back if I ever learn how to free myself. How are you guided back to the house, so to speak?
Okay, so you mean that, all right, as what you're asking is in a meditative state, you want to engage in an out-of-body experience. Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, don't worry about coming back, because you will be energetically connected to your body, okay? Think of your body as or your brain as a computer hard drive, and when you do an out-of-body experience, you're basically accessing Dropbox or a Microsoft Cloud, okay? And when you're done using that particular application, you're going to return to your hard drive. You will only leave your body, Stan, when your body no longer functions. And out-of-body experiences, which are also referred to as astral projections,
Yes.
is a phenomenon that has been observed for thousands of years. I mean, yogis of both Buddhist and Hindu background have been practicing that. It's not a thing unknown in the Judeo-Christian tradition either. And now they're studying it, like the Monroe Institute for Out-of-Body Experiences in Virginia. So you never have to worry about that. And when you're doing the meditation, say that, just remind yourself that I will be returning to my body when this particular experience has concluded. And so there's nothing to be afraid of. Fear is what causes people to demonize out-of-body experiences, to demonize mediumship, which I call interdimensional communication, because that's what we're doing. We're communicating with a different frequency, a different dimension. And the only cure for fear is knowledge. And so the more we learn and study these things, the more we're beginning to see that these arcane, fear-based notions generated in documents written in the Bronze Age and the Iron Age really have no purpose.
Got you.
Wow.
Okay, so you guys have any questions?
I do. My heart is beating so fast right now, and I don't know why. I feel the way I feel right now is the way I feel when I'm getting ready to go across a bridge with water. I'm sitting here, and I had to put my hand down because I'm like, why is my heart beating like this? Because I'm thinking of what I want to say to you, Mark, but it's my heart is beating so fast because I'm kind of scared. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I just want to find out, is there something that my dad wants to tell me? My dad has been my protector, my provider, my influencer, and he's been dead now for almost 10 years. And just last week, I just had a breakdown. I felt like it just happened, like I'm going through it all over again just last week. And I took my dad to the hospital I was supposed to go take him to get fluid drained off of his stomach, and my dad died in the hospital the next day. I was supposed to be bringing him home.
Yeah.
And I just want to find out.
Well, did your dad like pocket knives or jackknives? Did he like? I mean, I know guys. Look, there's two things all guys seem to like: flashlights and knives. Okay, but the funny thing is, I'm getting this male energy around you, and this is not a creepy, weird thing, but he keeps showing me like this one pocket knife and jackknife. Okay, does that make any sense to you in any way?
If I tell you, and Stan can.
I already know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When you just said pocket knife, last week, I just told Stan and everybody here, my co-host, that it was a guy who was standing outside of my car last week, and the same guy that was there last week when I parked to come into this studio, I remembered him from like 2 weeks before, and he waited at my car, and I felt real uneasy, and I told Stan last week that I want you to walk me to my car. When I got my car today, I put a pocket knife in
your purse.
I put a pocket knife in my purse. When Stan came in here tonight, I said, Stan, look.
Dad is watching over you.
I said,
Stan.
Oh my God. I just showed the pocket knife to Stan. I said, Stan, I got my pocket knife with me today if that guy is out there.
So
I cannot believe you.
He's telling you something.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Because when you were telling me that a male spirit, which is your dad, started showing me a pocket knife, and
Stan,
you found
I
a
just
pocket
showed you
knife
a pocket
in your
knife
purse
in my
that
purse
you don't-
today. This is my first time carrying it.
That you did not put it in there, right?
Yeah.
No, I did, but I never carried it until today. I pulled it out. I searched for
You never
it.
carried it until today. Okay, so what this indicates is that your father is around you and aware of what's happening with you, which is why he's zeroing in on the pocket knife.
Yeah.
Okay, and basically he's telling you just improve your situational awareness. Like this guy standing around your car. I'm not necessarily saying that he's a bad thing, but this is your dad's giving you the heads up, okay? And the reason that you broke down, even though it's been several years since he passed, we never get over the death of a loved one. And something can happen. It can be a thought, a song, a scent, or just something that we see, and it brings us right back to when that person died. Now, what your dad's doing is he gave you that sensation of him being around, which is what triggered you getting very upset, understandably so, and then focused your attention on the jackknife to let you know that he is around you and he loves you very, very much. Did you just get some new shoes? I know women are always buying shoes, but he's talking about your shoes. What's up with your shoes?
Nothing.
Oh, he is focusing on shoes.
Oh, well, today I decided to wear comfortable shoes because I can't believe I'm about to say this. Yeah, today I decided to wear comfortable shoes because my knees, I have arthritis and fibromyalgia. They've been bothering me. A few weeks ago, I came in here with a cane, and today I said, let me put my comfortable shoes on. Even if they don't match, I'm going to put them on.
See, your dad's letting you know, because what
around.
it is, he's all of a sudden I got shoes. Look, and look, I know women have tons of shoes. Like when guys, we go traveling, we carry like a pair of black shoes and a pair of brown shoes because that'll go with everything we got. Women have to have like every color or every style or whatever. I get that, but I don't bring something up unless he's projecting it to me. Now, I realize everybody probably drinks coffee or something, but he is holding up a styrofoam coffee cup, okay? Now, that may mean you like styrofoam coffee cups, you don't like them, or there's some significance to it, but he's talking to me to tell you that he doesn't want you to be using styrofoam cups. And I don't know if it is because they break down and there's some chemical interaction with you, but there's something about styrofoam cups that doesn't mix with you. Does that make any sense?
Can I tell you something? I have never sat on this on this platform and drank coffee. I have a coffee cup in my hand right now. I cannot believe what you're telling me.
Styrofoam cup.
I have a
styrofoam cup.
coffee cup in my hand. I cannot believe what you are saying to me.
And this never has happened.
And I've never done this before until today.
So he's present.
Oh my goodness.
So that's his way of saying he's present.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So, and for the benefit of the listeners, Stan, I'm on a regular phone line. This is not a
Right.
Skype thing
We know
where
that.
I can look. I don't
Right,
know
exactly.
if she's wearing comfortable shoes, has a pocket knife in her purse, or a styrofoam coffee cup. I do not know this. But who does? Her father does. And this is his way. Here's the thing. He's still looking out for you. He will always love you, always has, always will. It's funny because he keeps calling you like his little sparrow, his little bird. Something about you being his little bird, little sparrow. It's really sweet.
Wow.
I can't even. I'm so stuck right now. I can't.
Wow.
So does that mean basically
That's a
he's
wow.
showing her his presence, like to say, I'm present, I see you?
Absolutely, because spirits are immortal living beings. They're energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred. Energy doesn't get sick, it doesn't get old, it doesn't die. See, I recently lost my father first week in November, and it was terrible. I mean, he was a wonderful guy. He was a NASA engineer. He had been a Navy SEAL, and watching him deteriorate from cancer was just absolutely horrible, okay? And, I'm a medium, but I'm not immune to the pain of death. I mean, I cry. In fact, today I cried. I start thinking about it and I cry. But I see him, and when he comes to me, I don't see a sick old man riddled with cancer. I see a 22-year-old guy that looks like he could kick my butt. You know what I mean? He's just like handsome and young and glowing. And this is what your dad's letting you know is he is always going to be around you because their energy. Now, is he with you 24/7? Probably not, but the thing is, spirits being pure energy can move at the speed of light. So we can zip in, see what you're doing, zip out, do 100,000 things, and then be back a few moments later. So we never have to worry about being separated energetically from our loved ones.
Wow. You have a question?
Wow. I do have a question. I have a sister who is one of those naysayers with things like this, and she is on the phone today. She's on my live, so I am very, very appreciative of Dana, your openness and your candidness, because they telling me on my thing how serious my face looks because I am just astonished.
Yeah.
And, here lately, the last few days, Mark, I had a first cousin, Rodney, who committed suicide 3 years ago. And that's the closest person, even closer than my grandparents, that I've ever lost. Like, that weighed on me for a very, very long time because I still don't understand. He was like, we kind of like grew up together.
Hold on. Did Rodney, do you know if he used to get a lot of headaches, like migraines, head pain?
Yes, and he used to take medication for that.
Okay, because there's a male energy coming through, and I'm getting like the migraines, like how like every time when your heart beats, your head goes ba-boom, like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming through, and what he would like you to know is the problem with Rodney, and this is coming from him, is he never felt comfortable in his own skin. Okay, he always there was a real, and of course this could be said of most people, if not all people, that have committed suicide. And I understand that, and that's why he's explaining this, is that he just didn't really like himself. Okay, he was never comfortable in his own skin. He said he felt awkward in every social situation, but people would have known it because he had this award-winning smile.
Wow.
This guy could walk into a room and smile and just light everything up, but behind the smile was a very, very sad person who lacked a lot of self-confidence. The other thing he's telling me is, was he real good with numbers, facts, figures, data? Because it seems like he has the type of mind like an engineer had or has. because I keep seeing all these spatial relationships, facts, figures. It's almost like an engineer architect. It's that type of very left-brained thinking. Does that make any sense?
I mean, I don't know if we can connect this, but he was extremely good at gambling. Like he just knew stuff like that a lot of people wouldn't know. So I don't know if
Facts,
there's a
figures,
connection with
facts,
that. Yeah.
Figures, data compilation. Yeah, to be a gambler, it's kind of like the same type of skills you would have as an accountant. You got to be able to know things. Hold on. So I'll take a 0.5% on that one. We're getting the facts and the figures. Let me work some more with him here. Yeah. Okay. I know you indicated he was taking medication for his head pain, but he's also talking about dependency, and he was dependent on something other than prescription drugs. Okay, and what he's telling me is I'm seeing the pendulum swinging, pendulum. This indicates to me he had a lot of mood swings too. And with this dependency, it feels like it sent him into, it's almost like cardiac arrest. It's like, because what I'm feeling is when he died, it happened really, really quick. So whatever he did, it was like over in a second.
Instantly.
Right? Yeah, it was instant. I mean, it's like if somebody could reach in my rib cage and just grab my heart, just squeeze it to where it just stopped immediately. And he said that was part of his plan. I don't mean to laugh, but being the gambler, he said he was not taking any chances.
No
that
chances.
He was going to do this, it was going to work. He was going to do it one time, it was going to work one time, and it was going to be over. Okay.
Wow, he put a gun to his head.
Like river or Riverdale or Riviera. It's like Riviera, Riverdale. He keeps giving me this river word. So I don't know if he lived near a river. Hold on, excuse me one second. Or maybe a place like Riverside, but there's something about river, Riverside, Riviera that he keeps repeating over and over and over. Does that make any sense?
It doesn't. Nothing comes to me instantly with the word river and him.
Okay, that's fine. What about with you?
Well, I mean, with me, yeah. I mean, I went to school in Riverdale, and you know.
There you go.
There you go.
You went to school
Riverdale.
in Riverdale?
Yes.
And I did say Riverdale, right?
You
yes.
did. You said Riverdale. I went to school in Riverdale, and Rodney lived near James River down in Virginia.
There you go.
That's bada bing, bada
There you go.
boom. Now, why am I saying this is bada bing, bada boom? Is because spirits will bring up things about you as well. And I do not know, we have never met in person, okay? I do not know that you went to Riverdale High School, and I do not know that is it Stan lives in where River? Which
Stan?
there's-
Rodney.
No, my
No,
cousin
no,
Rodney.
there's-
Rodney lived
who?
near. My cousin Rodney lived near James River down in Virginia, and I went to.
James River. I'm sorry. I thought you said Stan. Okay. So he's bringing up things about himself and about you that I don't know. See, before I do a formal reading, because in my readings, either on the phone or in person, they last an hour, but I spend 10 minutes prior to that explaining how I perceive things. And they will bring up pieces of information, shared memories, things that I don't know.
Wow.
And it's like what we were talking about earlier, like cold reading. Well, why would I throw out Riverdale, Riviera?
Exactly.
Okay, especially
Yeah.
Riverdale.
Right.
That's
He said
right on
Riverdale.
point.
And it
That's
was
where you went to
precise.
school. And, yeah, right.
Wow.
And he knows that. I don't. So this is part of what goes into evidential mediumship is presenting pieces of information that I have no reason or logical basis to know.
Wow.
Yeah, and what you said was he ended it quick. He shot himself, so that's exactly his intentions were intentional.
And did he shoot himself in the head?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I remember when at first I said, did you get a lot of headaches? Because I was feeling the head pain, but it was more than just shooting himself in the head. I think that he may have been plagued by these migraines and other things, and it was tied into this mood swing. There was this whole thing going on with his moods and his hormone levels that were giving him these severe headaches and he just couldn't take it anymore, and he didn't like himself. And it's a shame because the spirit of Rodney, he's a lot of fun, he's a little nice guy, but what he had was an organic personality disorder, and I don't mean that in an insulting way. It's like whatever's going on with him chemically, it was like bipolar. I mean, he would like lapse into these deep depressions. And
he was on medication for antidepressants. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. And that's what he's telling me is like on the other side, as a spirit, he is free of all that. That's what he wants you to know.
Yeah.
And that's why he's telling me that when he did decide to do this, he said, I've got to put an end to this. I can't take it anymore, and I want to make sure there's no margin of error.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you.
So, Mark, we have to wrap it up. Sorry. Is there anything else that you want to discuss? You want to give any dates or, of course, your books and the whole nine before we go, and where you can be contacted and all your information?
Well, I'm going to be at the Unity Church of Naples in Naples, Florida next week on February 8th at 7 p.m. And for an event where I'm doing readings for members in the audience. And if people want to find out about my 2018 tour schedule, about my books, and to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and sign up for my newsletter, and find out more about my books, you can just go to my website, evidenceofeternity.com, which is the same name as my last book, Evidence of Eternity, and that'll keep you up to date on everything I'm doing. And Stan, I'm really hoping we're going to get to the D.C. area this year because I'd love to come in studio, meet you guys
Yes.
in person,
Yes.
We would
and
love
do a
to
show
have
with you
you.
in studio.
That would be wonderful. We have a new studio, and it's an amazing studio. Shout out to Listen Vision. It's a wonderful studio, Mark, so you have a good time. And I'm sorry we ran out of time, but, man, that was fast. You did an amazing job.
Yes, you
You
did.
guys
Thank
make
you.
sure you check out his books, Evidence of Eternity, Never Letting Go. It's amazing, man. Does an amazing job. Spiritual guy, and he's very solid. So shout out to Mark Anthony. Thank you for coming on, Mark. We have to end the show now, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to
Thank you
Spotlight
all.
over the
Thank you,
city.
Everybody.
And
Thank you,
don't
Mark.
forget, love hard, live good, God
God
first.
first.
Spotlight.
I put the spotlight